Hello, everyone. Welcome to Truly Bedrock Season 3. This is episode 21, I believe. And a couple of things. Number one, we talked about it in stream last weekend. 20 episodes. Last season, I think I did 40 episodes over the entire season with an episode 0 in there. And this season has been so great. We've been so motivated to do things, and the server's been up for 10, 11 weeks, something like that, and we are now halfway where we were at, last season. 6 months in, this is where we were at. So that's a big accomplishment, I think, and I'm extremely happy about it. And also, in stream, I'm sorry, last episode, we snagged up some dirt from Groova, so we should be able to start working on the terraforming that needs to happen behind the base here. Needs to come all the way out to about here with these blocks and then move its way down to here. Last stream, if you missed it, we did fill these bad boys in, which it looks like I got a piece of netherrack I got to get up there, as well as filling these guys in here. So we've got the bottom little spikes that go well with the top, and that is starting to look really, really good. The other thing that we did, I dumped all my dirt and stuff in here so I could take the shulker boxes, but the other thing that we did on stream was we got a lot of blackstone. 4 shulker boxes worth, to be exact. I also did go down and do some mining in the mines to get myself some cobbled deep slate. Just some more. We have more in the nether hub, but I would like to not really use that, so we got that. That was off camera. And we did a few other things with getting ink sacs and stuff like that. Whilst I was down there mining, I did get myself a bunch of different ores and things like that, so we do need to sift through this and start placing some of these items in here to be smelted, which we've already started on doing. So, with all of that being said, I think what it's time for is it's time to get back to building this bad boy, because we left off up there with that little section, ran out of blackstone, and I'm going to fill my pockets, and I think we're going to get ourselves a little bit, hopefully, time-lapse going. So a quick little time lapse there, showing us building the tower up to this height. I did not show the wood in there. We're still learning with the time lapses. At the end, we kind of messed up where we couldn't see the top of this. Needed to change the camera view. I'll get there. But anyway, I wanted to bring you guys in because we're building those spikes behind us, and I think that's going to be some of the last spiky bits on the tower, and it's pretty simple. Do something like that. Now, Was it like that? It's like that. Yep. So anyway, when we were building the first part of this castle here, or castle, I keep wanting to say castle. When we were building the first part of this tower here, I had a comment in my video that asked me, you know, how do I come up with my inspiration slash, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I think that's right. How do I come up with my inspiration slash building and stuff like that? And I answered that question on the YouTube comments, but probably not in the best way. Kept it kind of short and sweet. And I think what I'm going to do is mess this up. Yep, there we go. And this should be like that, right? Yeah, cool. Anyway, we're going to go into a little more depth, I think, in the next clip where we're doing some other detailed work. So if you guys want to hear about it, we will definitely be chatting in the next clip. But this clip is just going to be a pretty quick little overview of building these things here. And it's a pretty quick and easy design. We just have the crimson wood here. We come up 4 blocks. Then we skip 1 block, and then we come 2 above here, and then we start at the 2 above, and then we go, or I'm sorry, we start at the 2 below. And then we go 3 above, and then over here we just went 2 and 2. Real nice and easy, and then we're going to polish this off finally by doing this, just to give it a little bit of width. And we do need to make sure that we jump up here. Perfect. And that, and this, like so. That's it. So this one's going to be like this, as you can see right there. And then everything else is kind of evened out. These are pretty easy. 2, 3, 4. And we could even go as far as doing the actual side pieces whilst we're building this thing up. But I'm really starting to love the way that this build is turning out. I hope you guys are as well. This one is a neat one. We still have quite a few things that we need to do. I still need to go down to about that layer there and put candles on these layers. But we're getting there. It's not where I wanted you. I honestly think that we only have a few more layers to go up, and we should be able to cap this. Cap this thing off and get kind of finished up, which will be exciting. Excuse me there, and it's my hopes that we will be finishing this build, or at least getting the shell of the build today, because I've got a ton of plans that I want to start on in regards to building things, not only inside this, but inside there, terraforming, all kinds of things. Yeah, perfect. Start 2, and then we go 3 above. So 1, 2, 3, and then this is where it gets a little bit tricky. And I'm not going to quite put those in yet because we need that. And then like that. Pop that guy out, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2. And luckily that piece of netherrack was placed perfectly for these bits. And boom. There we go. We've got 2 sides done. I need to get the other 2 sides done, and then I think we can start rolling another time lapse of us building this thing up and up and up. Well, hopefully the time lapses all worked out and you guys would have seen us finish pretty much the entirety of the tower. We still got a little top bit to put in here, and I do need to go back from pretty much this level up and put in some lighting, some candles and things like that. Looks like we got a little bit of snow right there that we're gonna have to take care of. But yes, this is looking really, really good. I think it looks amazing. Okay, so back when we first started building this in part 1 of the build, I talked about some of the major blocks that we were going to use, and I asked you guys what you thought we would use. And some of you guessed, and most of you probably guessed correct: polished basalt, deep slate, blackstone, and nether brick. And a little bit of warped wood. I said crimson wood in the video, but I misspoke. Now the thing is, we have not placed a single bit of nether brick in this entire build. There's nothing. You guys can look around and see. This looks so cool from the inside, I think. And that is because the nether brick is actually going to be a detail block of sorts. So I've loaded up a little bit. Actually, let's grab more. That's definitely not going to be enough. And we are going to go and start putting in some detail. Sure. Yeah, that much. And then we're also going to need this guy. We're going to need the axe because we're going to have to chop out some of the wood planks that we put in, or slabs rather. And I have a little bit of let's see, 1, 2, 4. Perfect. And while we start building this bad boy up, we need to write this number down. 76. Oh my goodness, my pencil just died on me. There we go. Or pen, rather. 76 is our Y level, and that's going to matter to us when we start building this thing. And while we build this guy up, while we start doing this little bit here, let's see, we can still hit all of this good. I want to talk about what we talked about in the last little clip, which is a question that was asked by a viewer in how do I get my inspiration for these type of builds. And it's really a very easy process. It's very, oh, you know what, guys? You know what? We gotta make some slabs. I want to slab this up so we don't have to light it up, right? But anyway, inspiration for building and how I come up with these different projects and things over the seasons is a fairly good question that we got asked. And, I think that's... let's do something like that. I think that's gonna be enough for now. And we're gonna talk about the process. And it's not gonna work for everybody. Obviously, it works for me. And we've been doing great with our builds and stuff like that. But as I said, it's my process. So 3 basic steps. We come up, first off, with an idea of what we want to build. So what I mean by that is a general structure. Whether that's a castle, a house, a mansion, a tower. That's the first process of what we want to do, right? We sit down, we think about it, and once we have that in mind, my next step is to take to Google. And we go to Google, thinking about okay, we're gonna build, what did we do last season? We did a castle last season. And sometimes it's me running around this world or any of the worlds. You know, I have a creative world with a bunch of different little small builds and stuff in it. And we come up with the ideas. Let's see, we've done that. Okay, good. And this will end this one here. Once we take to Google, we then do research on different things, such as castles or houses or whatever, and we're going to take last season's base as an example. Right? We did a castle. So I will sit and think about the different things that we want to do. And once we nail it down as far as the structure goes, I'm fibbing this all up. I'm trying to concentrate on this and talking and all of that. So get the idea down. Sometimes it takes a little longer. Like season 1, I had no idea what I wanted to do, what I wanted to build for a structure. But as the seasons progress, we are getting a lot better and a lot quicker at figuring that thing out. And really, that's just dependent upon. We built the castle at spawn this season. That was kind of an homage to last season's castle. Last season, at the very beginning, we built a tower. So between that tower and Jesse's tower at spawn is where I came up with the idea of building this tower. So getting back to the Google thing, we will do research, and it doesn't always have to be Minecraft related. I have gone and looked up realistic stuff. Last season's castle was actually a picture I found on Google of a real-life castle. So our third step in the process is taking to Creative, which is a tool that I used to only really use in instances where we would be messing around with different redstone. And I would test circuits and things like that, and then that was kind of all I did for Creative. Starting last season, I really started using Creative to kind of lay out structures, lay out sizes and things like that. And if you guys know my creative process, it gets a little wild. Let's see, 17, 18, and then here, cool. But those are the 3 main steps. So I know this is probably getting confusing because I'm confused. Trying to talk about the different things and stuff whilst building. But basically, we get an idea in our heads of what we want to do, a tower, a castle, things like that. Let's take Season 2, for example. I've tried to say this before, and I get sidetracked with building. So I decided I wanted to build a castle, and that was kind of just an idea I had from a very old world that I used to play on. And I thought, hey, that could be neat. Let's see. And we took to Google to get some inspiration, which is a good way, or a good resource, I think, for creativity. I looked up like Minecraft castles, and I didn't find anything that kind of jived with what we were doing. So I refined my search a little bit further and was looking up real-life castles and things like that, and we finally found one that was kind of positioned in the middle of a lake, which was perfect for what we wanted to do, because I wanted to build in the middle of a lava lake in the Nether. Once we did that, I had to take to Creative and start laying this thing out, and we eventually built a castle wall. I had to kind of refine my Google search even further with going into castle wall designs, and mashing a couple of those together. We finally found something that worked, and we again laid it out in Creative, and that is how I came up with the size of my castle. So, let's see. Once we had that all down, then it was building a little bit in creative, and then starting our process in survival. Now, if you guys were a part of the bridge building thing that we did last season, you guys will know that we did not do even a huge portion of... Aha, perfect. You know, I think it's perfect. My creative process can be a little bit tricky. And I missed that completely. Let's just go over here to where I don't build the whole thing. Like, I wouldn't build this whole tower in creative. It's not a great view. But I will build a portion of it, or maybe even less than a portion of it, if that makes sense. I'll build, like, this quadrant here, this corner all the way up, and that's what I did do. And tying in things like building like this with the work that I do, I'm actually able to foresee how this whole thing is going to look, and so I don't have to build the whole thing. And we can come to survival and we can start sketching in things like this, and it works out really well for us. And I really like the sidebar detail here. I think this looks cool. Again, we have to complete the top still, but this little bit of nether brick really just pops it that much more. So what I mean by using the knowledge I have from my job for builds is when we start a project at work, there's typically a blueprint that we have to look at, and then we're in a room, you know, similar to the inside of our base here. And it'll be like this. There'll be nothing in it, and we have to start adding, you know, lighting and receptacles and odds and ends. And we have to be able to envision that and then make it happen. And that really works well for building in this game. Last season when we did the bridge, which we've talked about a little bit, I had built like the pillars that were going to go up, and I built a very small section of that. I got an overall length of the bridge. We built a very small section of what the bridge covering was going to look like. And that was kind of the whole thing that we did on creative. It looked nothing like what it ended up looking like when we finally built the bridge in survival. And it turned out very, very good. So if you manage to understand half of what I said, it's a pretty easy process. We come up with a design or a structure that we want to build. We take to Google to get a little bit of inspiration. And then we've been utilizing creative a lot for us to smash down the build and figure it all out. And then it's trial and error. You know, you don't have to build the whole thing in survival. You can build a little bit in survival and then pick around with different things in creative. When we built our castle, we got the overall size. We built the bottom section of the wall, then the top section of the wall. And then the very top of it, we took to creative once again. Fortunately for us, we have the option of going into a downloads folder and download a creative copy of our world. And there we can kind of float around and mess around and dial it in. A few tips and tricks that I have before we move on to finishing the rest of this. Is there are tutorials and things out there that you guys can look at where people will take your builds from noob to pro. And a lot of that is just kind of mixing and matching blocks. You know, this has a different palette variation, whereas if we had built this all out of stone bricks or deep slate or something like that, it would have been very bland. So throwing in the different blocks really helps a build. One of the things I really like to use is like andesite. Stone, cobblestone, gravel, tough, mossy cobblestone, they all mix really well together. Stone brick mixes really good with the polished andesite and cracked and mossy stone bricks. You have things like spruce planks work really good with oak logs and coarse dirt for a floor. You know, many different things like that. Just playing around with blocks is really good. We were doing a live stream not too long ago where somebody told me that they mixed Deep Slate with Purpur blocks, and I told them, hey, you gotta join the Discord, you gotta show me the build. I really want to see how it turned out, and I was very impressed at how it looked. Getting something, two blocks that I don't think would mash well together, to mash well together, you know, takes some skill. And not only mixing blocks for your builds, but play around with depths and textures. Using slabs and stairs helps a lot. You can take a flat wall like this guy here and throw maybe some stairs in and really just elevate this build that much more. Remember, when building something, scale doesn't necessarily mean that the build is great, right? This tower is looking really, really epic with the sheer size of it and the details that we've put in, but I also think that the base that we have at spawn is an epic little build as well, and it is very tiny. And I guess the last tip that I have for you is, really it's how you feel about the build. Us here on Truly Bedrock, as well as many other people doing the YouTube thing, put our builds like this for millions of people to see, and it's open to criticism and, you know, debate on how good it looks and things like that. That's something that we have to deal with, but all in all, at the end of the day, it's if I like the build, then I'm good. I don't care what people say. You know, they could say, oh, that is, you know, the dumbest tower I've ever seen in my life, but hey, I'm happy with it. So you have to be happy with your builds as well, whether it's a dirt hut or something cool like this tower or something epic like what Groova's building over at Spawn. There's many, many different things. So inspiration comes from just playing the game. Sometimes all you have to do is take to a creative world and start placing down blocks, and you too can be inspired. So I hope this answers the question a little bit better than what I did on YouTube, and I hope that it helps some of you guys if you can understand the ramblings. But now it's time for us to get back to maybe finishing the other 3 sides of Nether Brick. And we got a lot of the Nether Brick in, and as you can see, we started building a little bit of an entrance down here. But can you guys see the mess up? Can you see where I goofed? No? Maybe? Well, I can. And I saw it as I was building this portion right here. I was coming out, I was getting ready to start taking the Nether Brick around here. We're going to have a little bit of a lava thing, and I built this castle 1 block up with anticipation of just building over this kind of grassy area here, when in reality I should have built this 1 block down and built my spikes coming out at this level. Now, 3 of them were at this level where this basalt is in line with the polished andesite. There was only 1 that I actually built correctly, which was this guy right here. We built this 1 block above, which is how it should be, with the anticipation that we are going to terraform up to this level here. So everything that I've been doing has been with the anticipation of that. And as you can see, I've come around and I basically highlighted the blocks that we had dug out, and then we went ahead and fixed this thing. And now, if we look at this, it is correctly built. So 3 out of 4 were built incorrectly. And we also did fix this one over here. As you can see, it's now 1 block above. Everything is good to go. Again, as I said, I should have left these down, and I should have moved that one over in that corner down, and then we should have just tore out these blocks here and gone ahead and made this our first layer, but it's okay. We can terraform this down into there, and we can blend it into the bottom here, so on and so forth. That'll give us a plenty of things to stream later on. So what I've been doing is coming through and placing in these blocks like so, and then I will go ahead and delete these like so, collect my blocks. That's all good, that's all good. We'll place those in as markers. we will come around and do the same thing on this side. And yeah, I'm kind of a little upset with myself that we didn't catch this before, but hey, you know, it is what it is. It is nice to have the little marker blocks here. And then once we get that done, we can actually start right here in this corner by tearing all of this out, like so. All this bottom layer we technically don't need, and I can go in and collect the blocks if I want to. Which we are going to, because we're getting low on polished basalt, it's no big deal. We'll fill this back in at a later date. But essentially what we need to do now is start right here, tearing all of this out. And I do believe that is correct. Let's see what we got over here. Yep, it's a single there. It's 2 up for that guy, and then 2 up for those. It's actually not a bad fix. It's pretty quick. The 2 up here, 2 up here, 2 up here, 1 there. We are good to go. So now what we can do is, or what I've been doing is just letting myself know that we fixed it to this point, and then we start pillaring up. Get the old pickaxe out, bust those out, and then finally go up to the last little bit. And 1, 2, 3. That is the underside of this whole thing fixed. Silly, silly me. And now the top side isn't that hard. So we can come in here and break out the handles. And this is where I like to start, placing these bad boys back in as we go. And then I've wrote down on a list of heights. So, goodness. So that we know this little plus sign pattern here should be at Y level 78. Like so. This little 3-prong deal right here should be at 79. And then we just have to pay attention that I believe it's this block and this block need to go up. These two should be at Y level 80. This goes to level 81, which is really... Now, at this point, it gets really easy where we should just be able to stack blocks. 1 more on top, fix candles. Can't believe. But, again, like I said, it's not too difficult. Placing in the candles gets to be a pain. For some reason, standing right on top of them in their hitbox, they don't like it. And then on this section here is where things get a little more tricky. We should be at level 90 here. 91 here. One last time for these guys, and then these should be at level 93. And then we have the final bit here, which... we can take our candles out, and we should be at Y level 97. There we go. Like I said, it's a little of a nuisance that we had to come back and do all of this. But the original build dictated that we're at a certain level. And I honestly should have just... I should have dropped this thing down by 1 instead of fixing all these, but I've looked over this thing many, many times, and with all of this done, that now fixes the small issue that we had. Perfect. So now if we go back and look at this thing from up here on the cat, it's much better. Much, much better. Now, as I said, we still got a bunch to do on this. We've got the top to fill in, candles to put in along the build from like this layer up. We didn't put anything, so I'll probably get those taken care of and get them lit up so this thing is nice and bright. Then we can start filling in the outside of this thing. It looks or I'm gonna end up putting some lava in here, which is gonna look pretty cool. And then I've got a pathway that I want to start building down to the portal here, and then start the terraforming project, which we've already started a little bit of it right here, filling this area in. But we've got to blend that in there. We're probably going to bring all of this stone layer is going to be covered in dirt, and we're going to be coming in at this layer here, which is one block above this guy here, where we have all of our dirt set that we got from Groova. And so that means we're going to have to get rid of that tree, and it's going to be quite a process. It's going to be quite a bit of building, but I think this thing is looking absolutely amazing, and eventually we're going to start adding things in here. I have many plans to start throwing in some redstone and stuff like that, because other than the light indicators in the potato farm, the super smelter in the workroom, and the little bit of piston work that we did for getting in and out of the workroom, I've done 0 redstone this season, and we're 21-ish episodes in, so we need to get after it, right? Redstone projects coming soon, maybe? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of time lapses and the talky bits, trying to get our thoughts perfect sometimes doesn't work out, but hey, it makes for good entertainment, maybe? Oh, I was hoping it'd get dark so we could see the tower, but it's looking really, really cool. Can't wait to finish in the top. We will do that next episode, but for now, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing. Check the description for all the different ways to follow me, including a link to all of the other Truly Bedrock members' YouTube channels. There's Discord links, Twitter links. You guys know the routine. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.